All right, let's dive into one of the most fundamental skills you need for Linux, managing your files right from the command line. Whether you're just starting out or you're on your way to becoming a sysadmin, these commands are the absolute bread and butter. So let's get right to it. But before we even type a single command, let's start with this piece of wisdom. In Linux, you have an incredible amount of power at your fingertips. And as this quote makes crystal clear, with that power comes a whole lot of responsibility. One wrong move, one tiny typo can have huge consequences. That's why paying super close attention is the name of the game. Okay, so at the heart of file management, it really all boils down to three core commands. Think of these as your essential toolkit: CP for copy, MV for move, and RM for remove. Once you get these down, you're well on your way.
First up, we've got CP. Its job is super simple. It copies stuff. The syntax couldn't be easier. You just type CP, then the source, that's the file you want to copy, and then the destination, which is where you want the new copy to live. It just creates a perfect clone and leaves your original file completely safe.
Next is MV, and this one's kind of cool because it wears two different hats. If your destination is a directory, it'll just move the file there. Simple enough. But if you give it a new file name in the same directory, it just renames the file. And here's a little pro tip for you. When you move a file on the same hard drive, it's instant, even for massive files. Why? Because it doesn't actually move any data. It just updates a little pointer to its new location. It's incredibly slick. And finally, we get to the most powerful and, frankly, the most dangerous of the three: RM. This is how you delete files. And I need to be absolutely crystal clear about this. When you use RM, that file is gone. There's no recycle bin, there's no undo button, it is permanent. So you have to treat this command with a lot of respect. Now, these commands are great on their own, but their real power gets unlocked when you start using options, or flags, as they're often called. Think of them like power-ups in a video game. They change how the command behaves, making them way more powerful. And yeah, you guessed it, potentially way more dangerous. Let's check out the most important ones. This is the R flag, and it stands for recursive. You absolutely need this if you want to copy or delete an entire directory, not just a single file. It basically tells the command, hey, go into this folder, handle everything inside, then go into all the subfolders and do the same thing, all the way down the line. And that brings us to a mistake that pretty much everyone makes when they're starting out. If you try to run CP or RM on a directory but you forget to add that -R flag, Linux will just stop you and give you an error. It's actually a safety feature designed to stop you from accidentally wiping out a whole folder when you only meant to touch one file. Okay, now think of these two flags as the little angel and the devil on your shoulder. On one side, you've got I for interactive. This is your safety net. It makes the command stop and ask you, hey, are you sure you want to do this? Before it does anything destructive. It is your best friend. And on the other shoulder, you've got F for force. This one doesn't ask questions. It doesn't care. It just does what you tell it to. It's ridiculously powerful, and you have to use it with extreme caution. So we've got the commands, we've got the power-ups. Now let's put it all together and see how this stuff is actually used in the real world, and more importantly, how to do it safely. These are the kind of tasks you'll do all the time. Say you need to edit a critical system file. First thing you do, use CP to make a quick backup copy. Smart. Or maybe you want to clean up your log files. You just use MV to shuffle them into an archive folder. And when a project is totally done, you can clean up everything with RM-R. This is the stuff that becomes second nature. With all this talk about being careful and the potential for disaster, it kind of begs the question, right? What is the single most feared, most infamous, and most destructive command you could possibly type in a Linux terminal? This. Right here, just 6 characters. And it is the stuff of nightmares for system administrators. Let's break down why it's so terrifying. You've got RM, our delete command. You've got -R, telling it to be recursive and delete everything in all the folders. You've got -F, the force flag, telling it not to ask for permission. And the target? That single // That is the root directory, the very top of your entire system. This command tells your computer to silently and forcibly start erasing itself. And that nightmare command is the ultimate example of the most common and painful mistakes people make. Using RM-RF in the wrong directory because of a simple typo is a classic disaster. Then you've got the frustration of forgetting -R when you're trying to copy a folder, and of course, accidentally overwriting a file you really needed with CP or MV just because you weren't paying attention. So the big question is, how do you avoid this? Simple. You build an unbreakable habit, a 3-step safety checklist. First, before you do anything, run PWD, Print Working Directory, to see exactly where you are. Second, run LS to list the files so you can see with your own eyes what you're about to affect. And third, if you have any doubt at all, just use the -I flag. A couple of extra keystrokes can literally save you from a catastrophe. Okay, so let's lock this in. CP makes a copy, MV moves or renames, and RM deletes forever. If you're working with directories, you need -R. For that safety check, you use -I, and for that raw, unfiltered power, you use -F, but only when you are 100% sure of what you are doing. So there you have it. You now have the fundamental keys to manage and organize a Linux system. With these simple tools, you can build, clean up, and maintain pretty much anything. The real question now is, what will you create? What will you organize? And what will you always double check before you hit that enter key?